Ask George is brought to you in association with International Cricket Tours. ICT are specialists in cricket-based holidays with a personal touch. So if you're looking at going to the Ashes, to New Zealand, or to Sri Lanka, look no further than International Cricket Tours.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ask George. We are joined here at Headingley after an enthralling day two with our chief correspondent George DeBell and Melinda Farrell.
I'm just like, you started that so quickly. I'm just
Like a proper professional.
It's like facing Bumra for the first
I've
ball
got to
of the day.
apologise for two things. I've got to apologise for the sound yesterday. All me. 100% my fault. Really sorry. Lessons learned. And the hat. Well, we did talk about not using the hat, but then she showed us her hair. Trust us, the hat's better. Fair? You've missed this, haven't you?
Let's just say that it's because of moi that we actually have usable audio.
Yeah, that is all true. Yeah.
Anyway, back onto cricket, which is what we're here to talk about. Talking about facing Bumra, Mike asks, where does Bumra rank in terms of bowlers you've seen? He's fast approaching top of my list.
I think he is top of my list, isn't he? At the moment, anyway. I mean, of course, I think it's a kind of a pointless thing for me anyway, trying to compare bowlers across different eras, because I think a lot of it is so hard to compare when we've had different pitches, different oppositions, everything else. But for the moment, right now in the world, I can't think of anyone else who is as constant a massive threat as Bumra is. He's just so freakish, and yeah, there are a lot of great bowlers out there in the world, and Pat Cummins and Josh Hazlewood will be there and thereabouts, and of course Rabada, absolutely brilliant. But he is so freakishly good, and I shouldn't use that word freakish because he works so hard, and sometimes I think when we use that word it suggests that
but it's
maybe
kind of
someone
freakish,
has
isn't it? Because the action is so unique.
It is, yeah.
I think I agree with whoever asked the question. I think you're right up there. I don't know how you can compare with eras. How do you compare with Murali, for example?
Yeah.
But there's something there that is absolutely brilliant. The consistency, the skill, the pace, absolutely right up there. I don't, it makes you think about the best you've seen. And I never saw Malcolm Marshall bowl poorly, and I don't think I've ever seen Bumra bowl poorly. And that's really, really unusual. I even saw Hadley bowl poorly, and he was as good as it gets. So, yeah, absolutely up there. But it's fairly early days in his career. A lot more to come. Been lots of great players, but I guess we don't need to compare them.
And I suppose his greatness makes Ollie Pope's century all the better. So Innocent Bystander asks, if Pope doesn't back up back-to-back centuries with another ton at Edgbaston, should he be dropped for Bethel for the next test?
So obviously not, but the point that you're making, look, let's not pretend that century against Zimbabwe was massively persuasive, because they weren't very good, were they? They weren't very good, and we should be able to be honest about these things. So he was under pressure coming into this game, but to get this century under that pressure, he came in with England one down in the first over, so I think he was facing in the second over. The lights were on, Bumra's running down the hill, huge amount of pressure on him and on England. To succeed in those conditions, look, he's nailed it. He's nailed it. I actually think there are a few technical concerns still. Who knows what happens long term? You have to keep doing it. But he has shown real character and class today, and deserves all the praise that comes his way.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you that, which is really weird if I'm agreeing with you about everything, but I don't know how influential that Zimbabwe innings was. I've been actually really fascinated to find out, especially with the comments that 2 + 2 = Bethel coming in the side, and all of that kind of stuff that happened in the media beforehand. So it'd be very interesting to find out what the messages were to the players themselves around all of that. But yeah, I know it was dropped. Well, it wasn't dropped. He flashed and it went through.
He was dropped as well, to be fair.
Slip. He was dropped. And then he should have been called a fourth slip if they'd had a fourth slip.
But that happens.
It does happen.
Loads of great innings have had those moments of
Absolutely.
fortune.
Always. And it's, the fact that he put it straight behind him, and he was so bright and positive all the way through from the moment he came out. And I thought it was really good innings against, especially taking on Bumra the way he did in those conditions. It was tailor-made for Bumra with the lights and the clouds.
I don't want to be disingenuous at all. I think that had Bethel not gone to the IPL, or had he come back before the Zimbabwe test, he would have been ahead of Pope. and I don't think that would have been particularly unreasonable. I like the fact that Pope played because he's been playing championship cricket, and I think that matters, first-class cricket. And Bethel hasn't played this year. I'm going to say something slightly outlandish, but you can use it as a stick to beat me for years to come. I do think the ceiling of Bethel is higher. I think it's about as high as any young England batter I've seen since they ran Prakash and Hick. I think his ceiling, the potential, and the reason I say that is because it didn't work out completely for Ramps and Hick, brilliant though they were. But Bethel is special, and he's going to break this team sooner or later, but it's not going to be next week, and it's not going to be for Ollie Pope.
I love the fact that you've been around England so long that you're starting to talk about high ceilings.
Yeah.
You've been infected.
Well,
You big Bazball, are you?
Well, I'm another of the people involved who's also a New Zealander as well. So actually, the New Zealanders are taking over. I don't know if you've noticed, we're coming for you with our kiwi fruit.
It is interesting, I suppose, in an alternate world as well, is if, say, that injury had happened to an opener in New Zealand and he had taken Zak Crawley's place. Zak Crawley's finger may not have recovered in time, and he'd done all of his run scoring in at the top of the order. Would people then be saying, you know, Zak Crawley's the one that should miss out? Because Cham J asks, how long will Zak Crawley be given the long rope with a test average of 31?
That was a good ball today, wasn't it?
It was a good ball, but I think if you've got a slightly faulty, it was a very good ball. But you are a test opener and you will get good balls. And they'll look ever better if you do have a slightly dodgy technique. Now, the reason they're sticking with him, and it's not unreasonable, is that he plays fast bowling brilliantly.
And he has a high ceiling.
He's tall.
He's got time to play fast bowling, and he plays the short ball well. So the traditional Australian attack is what he's well suited to. Now, you're going to be able to answer this better than anyone. Are we going to get a traditional Australian attack? Or are the new Kookaburra balls, with their increased seam, are they going to nibble more? Are we going to get more lateral movement? Are the pitches the same as they used to be? Basically, are they picking someone to play fast bowling when actually he's going to have to play the lateral moving ball? Because if that's what they're picking him for, he's in trouble.
There's certainly been an increase in the ball, or in the type of bowling that you're talking about, with the ball moving a little bit more, and also, you know, the drop-in pitches. We've not got the whacker, even though the Perth Stadium is still pretty damn quick. But I still think we are going to get that kind of bowling. Are we ever not going to get, you know, some really testing fast bowling from the likes of Mitch Starr, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood? There's still going to be some of that. It might be a bit of a mixture of both. Might not be quite the same as it has been in the past. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
I'm glad that Bethel's playing for Warwickshire tomorrow. And I still believe that opening the batting is a specialist position. So I wouldn't pick him to do that at this stage, unless, but I do think his ceiling's very high, and he's going to have to find a way to get in the side. But these are good problems to have. And he does average something like 29 in championship cricket right now, first-class cricket. So I guess there's not a massive hurry.
It's easy to forget now that it feels like centuries ago that Rishabh Pant scored his century. But Niharika Raina asks, can any other cricketer match the edge of your seat excitement generated by Rishabh Pant? Also, what do you think of his flipping somersault celebration as well?
Oh,
it was
love
lovely.
that. Hello, Niharika, by the way.
It was joyous.
Yeah.
I mean, would anyone not have liked it? What's not so nice?
If he wasn't such a nice guy, would it be showboating? Would it be?
A guy being delighted to score 100.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, of course.
Let's also. I mean, I think that with everything that Rishabh Pant has been through as well, and coming back from the most dreadful accident, anyone who had a problem with him celebrating, however the hell he wants to. That's right. Take a look at yourself in your high ceiling mirror.
Have I told you my theory about people? If you're in a pub and you are annoyed by other people laughing, you should leave.
Yeah.
It's not other people's fault.
Look, it was great. I was like, he is like the Harlem Globe-trotting batter that we had out there today. So lie down. I was preparing for him to sort of maybe lie down, you know, 1 foot up in the air, as twirl his bat around, and then send it whichever the way he wants. He can do that. It's brilliant to watch.
But whether there's quite a lot of entertaining cricketers around these days, aren't there? So whether he's the most, I don't know. I'm not even positive he's the most in this match, because the modern cricket is full of fun, eye-catching players. But yeah, he did brilliantly. He nailed it, and it was lovely to see him celebrate like that.
I thought it was brilliant. It was like this moment of completion that
Yeah.
finally, because I was starting to worry that maybe, look, have we seen the best of him? Is he going to come back and be at his best at some point? And that was just, I thought, beautiful moment today, really beautiful.
And that is all
Come
the
on,
questions
we can do
have.
one more. We can do one more.
Are you sure?
He's way too professional.
Well,
by the
he's
way.
brilliant.
While we're on
It's going to be a
final
star.
question,
He's got a very high ceiling.
He does have a high ceiling.
Worryingly high.
I'm being made to look very tall as well with this angle. So
Oh yeah, well I have to, because otherwise my head wasn't in it if I stand up. So I'm leaning down. Yeah.
I do not have a high ceiling,
No.
and I have a very low floor.
I don't know why I got us to carry on for that 30 seconds. No, go on, one more
question then. Go on then. Will Calling asks,
Hello,
whisper
Will.
it, but has Bazball learned to settle down a tad and properly consider its responsibilities?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, did you see? He's asked that question before the last over, but Harry Brook would have been caught had it not been a no ball. I don't know. I think they are what they are, and they're always going to be naturally, unusually aggressive. I think you could get sucked into thinking they're going for it more. It's such a quick outfield, like freakishly fast. And also both sides, there's been quite a lot of not brilliant bowling. So it hasn't felt like they've had to really push to score fairly quickly. But yeah, maybe England are tempering it a little bit, learning a little bit as they go on. I hope so.
I think it's, everybody has their own definition of Bazball. Everyone's always trying to define Bazball and you know what it is or anything else. I don't think it has to be, okay, this is what it is and this is what it is for all time. Like they're a side that are full of players who are going to keep developing and changing and evolving as the whole team does itself. It shouldn't have to be like, okay, here's the set of rules. Are we moving on to a new set of rules now? Yeah, I think they're just trying to win games of cricket and entertain.
Well, I hope so, because it hasn't always felt like that was the priority. To be honest, to me, it hasn't. But I hope it is.
It was interesting as well that Ben Duckett did make mention in the press conference that we've just watched, is that he said that he did try and on purposely not target Bumra. He even admitted to leaving a delivery that Bumra bowled. So it is interesting that they recognised that there was a bowler that maybe it wasn't the time to take that.
Yeah, but he
moment
still
on.
said you've got to put him under pressure. You've got to find ways to put away any loose ball.
But that's good, isn't it? Like
It's absolutely
you
fine.
can't let
It's
you
absolutely-
can't let
you can't
yourself
argue-
be.
Well, you can, you
Yeah.
sort of can, but I mean,
Yeah, but
you can block the hell out of it and
Yeah.
force people into spell after spell. And actually, India let England back into the game today because they were reckless for a portion of their innings. What were they? 430 for 3. They should have got 650. They should have crushed the England bowling into the dust, and they could have taken a really decisive moment in the series there. But they didn't, because they were a bit soft with their wicket. So it's always a balance. I mean, you obviously have to score runs. You have to find a way to do that. But I think this sort of accepted truth that you have to put the bowler under pressure, it seems to be about playing big shots, and it's not. You can put the bowler under pressure by forcing them to come back out on the pitch for a 5th session. Imagine how horrendous that would be. We were talking about this earlier. What's the longest you've ever fielded for? 55, 60 overs or something? Horrendous amount of time. Imagine being in Chennai and doing it for 200 or whatever overs. So there are different ways to put bowlers under pressure, and I think that leaving them, tiring them out, getting the ball softer, forcing them to spell after spell is an underlooked way. And personally, again, I'm going to say something outlandish, I really would be tempted to look at Tom Sibley again as an England opener.
And on that very
Bombshell.
strong note, we will call it a day. But thank you very much for your questions. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you after day 3.
he's way too professional. Can we get rid of him?
Too late.
I think we should.